terrified!
Come into being!
Huh? So you don't have a vision after all? Seems like I've mistaken you for someone else.
At the very least, you should make sure you've got the right person before you go attacking them. No, wait! Even when you've got the right person, you should...
Have you ever met someone by the name of Kaedahara Kazuha? He carries a sword just like you. I've also heard that he possesses an animo vision. That's none of your business. Never mind. You don't look like you know anything anyway. I'm wasting my time.
What the heck is this guy's problem? Coming around here with... Well, one thing's for sure. No way are we telling him right? Paimon has a feeling, though. Anyway, just to be on the safe side, we should go fight Kazuha right away. Oh? What kind of hunch? A special connection? You mean beyond all... Yeah, maybe a little. Anyway, there's no time to lose. Let's go tell Kazuha so we won't get... Paimon heard that the Crux fleet is stocking up in Rito at the moment. Let's look for him there. Hello?
You're looking for Kazuha too, huh? Guess he must have done something impressive after all. Well, we took the small vessels into Rito on a routine supply run, only this time, as soon as we entered the harbor, we ran into a huge crowd of Inazumans. Oh, if it's because of that battle on Nizuchi Beach, Captain Beto had a great run there. Kazuha keeps to himself most of the time. In fact, there are times when he doesn't even listen to the captain.
Oh, so you still don't...
I've heard bits and pieces. Something about him blocking the Raiden Shogun's Musa... Is it really as big a deal as everyone's making it out to be? Really? Wow. When you put it like that, he was called away earlier by some people from the Tenryo Commission. They said I thought they'd come to arrest him at first. Turns out they couldn't have been friendlier to him. Seems like...
Just a little while ago, this would have been completely... Thank you! Guess we'll go pay a visit to the Tenryo Commission.
All right, then. I'll just stay here and carry on trying to fend off the crowd.
Oh? It's you.
Greetings. We were just discussing the repealing of the Vision Hunt Decree. We invited Mr. Kaedahara here to extend a gesture of goodwill on behalf of the Shogunate. Your hard work has secured for us the agreeable state of affairs that we now enjoy. Also, the Almighty Shogun has issued a large array of directives aimed at resolving, or at least easing, the tensions. The Tri-Commission has made the recommendation to use this opportunity to restore the honor of the Kaedahara name. Regarding the history of the Kaedahara clan, I trust that you're already somewhat... In short, there was once a group of select bladesmiths who served the Shogun directly, responsible for upholding and further developing the traditional... But there came a time when some of these bladesmiths revolted and fled to Snezhnaya. Both the Kaedahara and Kamisato clans were held accountable for lax oversight and entered a period of great turmoil. We later learned that the whole misadventure had been secretly orchestrated by the Fatui. Attributing all of the blame to the Kamisato and Kaedahara clans was neither proper nor just. Considering Mr. Kaedahara has once more made an outstanding contribution to Inazuma, the Almighty Shogun believes he should not only be rewarded for his achievements, but also receive recompense for the excessive punishment borne by his clan in the past. In the interest of preventing further harassment of the Bladesmith clans by the Fatui, we chose not to publicly release the findings of our investigations into these matters. We trust you can understand.
This is a true honor. I am delighted to be in a position to receive the goodwill of the almighty Shogun, and the Shogunate at large. However, would I be correct to assume that this magnanimous gesture does not come with—
I can assure you that nothing could be further from the truth. We seek only to correct a past injustice. With the Kaedahara clan's reputation and occupation restored, the Kaedaharas will be bladesmiths once more, and your wanderings will finally come to an end. You will be able to lead a safe and prosperous life in Inazuma City, with the almighty Shogun's blessing and full support of the Shogunate.
I have grown accustomed to life among the elements. I fear I would no longer feel at home behind the tall walls of a stately abode. Yet my ancestors did indeed take great pride in the name of Kaedahara, and the art of blade making for which it stood.
I sense some hesitation in your words. Should you accept this offer, I imagine many of the malicious rumors currently circulating through the populace will disappear.
Malicious rumors? All we heard on the way here was so much praise that we almost wondered whether there was another Kaedahara Kazuha in town.
Well, to some, the Muso no Hitotachi is something that can never be defeated. They cannot accept the idea that Mr. Kaedahara really parried the Shogun's strike. Also, eyewitnesses saw him using the power of Electro in addition to that of Animo. As a result, the falsehood that Kaedahara Kazuha was using a delusion began to spread.
What? But that doesn't make sense. Using a delusion turns you old and frail, and Kazuha still looks fine.
That is correct. However, to some people, the idea of a single person wielding two elements at once is a more inconceivable notion still.
This is just one of many similar rumors. I am very uncomfortable with being the subject of public discussion, no matter whether it brings suspicion or— But perhaps if the Shogunate is willing to publicly support me, this
is precisely why I encourage you to give our offer some serious thought.
Please allow me some time to consider. In fact, let us put this discussion on hold for the moment.
Yikes! We nearly forgot about the most important thing!
Why would such a dangerous individual be looking for me? No. This puzzles me as much as— My fighting forms were taught to me by my family, based on techniques originally developed for blade testing. We undergo rigorous training to standardize every motion the blade is put through, so that each can be fairly assessed for quality. Over time, these techniques came to form something of a Kaedahara sword art, focused on blade testing, but with a full repertoire of combat forms. Those forms are quite different from the more practical ones typically used by samurai in battle.
All the more reason to watch your back! This guy was a serious nutcase.
Indeed. He sounds highly aggressive. Anyone he targets is at risk of serious injury, or worse.
In that case, I will send some men out immediately to search for him.
Thank you. I must say I am now very curious about this matter, and I will also need some time to consider your offer. I will first join the Traveler in investigating the one who attacked him, then give you a conclusive answer upon my return.
Very well. Please stay safe.
Come on. Let's go and track down your aggressor.
The detective agency knows the most about what goes on in town. Let's see what Ryuji has to say. Ask you a quick question. Do you know if anyone around here has been looking for him? For Kaedahara Kazuha, we mean.
Aha! So this is the renowned Mr. Kaedehara.
You are too kind. We are currently investigating an assault and would appreciate any help you can offer.
Oh? You were targeted in an assault? Let me think. I can't seem to recall. Mr. Kaedehara is currently the talk of the town, so there are always a lot of people. To be honest with you, our detective agency has recently been receiving many inquiries from people wishing to obtain Mr. Kaedehara's personal information. Some of them were offering us millions of mora just to gather the information they want. If these were more legitimate commissions, Sango would—
Millions? Of mora? Whoa! Oh, wait,
Please, accept my thanks for looking out.
Of course. No matter what, we only take on legitimate cases. Sorry, I got a little off topic. But I wouldn't know where to begin if we want to connect this with an assault.
Then let's put that connection aside for now. Have there been any other attacks or similar? The Tenryo Commission had very few leads. I thought you might have some information from different sources.
It's true that the commissioners aren't clued up about every little thing that goes on out in the streets. But typically, it's only the most trivial events that manage to escape their attention. If anyone had been out there attacking people, that would be assault, in which case the Tenryo Commission would absolutely get involved.
Uh-oh. Looks like the trail's already run cold.
I still find it difficult to believe that whoever attacked you hasn't been causing any trouble elsewhere. Few people possess your prowess in battle. So unless you were the first person he targeted, someone is certain to have been hurt by— I am well aware of your talents. There is no need to be humble around me. In fact, I'm quite relieved that you were the one he targeted. It would cause me great grief to see someone become critically injured or lose their life because of me. For the poor victim, this would be a completely senseless crime.
Don't worry, we'll find him.
It seems you are every bit the selfless hero they make you out to be, Mr. Kaedehara. Surely this same concern for your fellow men—
You flatter me. Truth be told,
You are much too humble. Don't worry, I completely understand your concerns. I will try my best to gather whatever leads I can for you. Oh, actually, there was one strange incident over the last few days. It doesn't involve an attack, though. Let me tell you about it just in case.
sure. During times like this, the more information we have, the better.
All right then. Recently, 2 people went missing from the city at around the same time. One of them is a pretty well-known collector, surnamed Nagato. The other, Amenoma Yuya, is a samurai from the Amenoma clan.
Amenoma. Now there's a familiar name.
Right. Yuya is the nephew of Amenoma Togo, the owner of Amenoma Smithy. 2 grown men going missing at the same time. Their cases are likely connected, but I don't know much in the way of details. I recalled this because Amenoma Yuya is also an accomplished martial artist who is skilled with the blade. Perhaps he is the one you are looking for.
Understood, though it seems highly unlikely to me. I neither know this man, nor do I have any idea why he may wish to attack me.
Sure, can't hurt. We never know what we might find out along the way.
Thank you, Ryuji. We'll start by making some inquiries at the Amenoma Smithy.
Sounds good. All the best with your investigation. I'll get moving shortly myself.
Ah, if it isn't Kaedehara Kazu.
Huh? You two know each other?
Yes, the Kaedehara and Amenoma clans were both members of the Raiden Gokaden. Historically, there have always been deep— After I returned to Inazuma, I visited Mr. Amenoma to— Yes, you may recall the story of the Raiden Gokaden from the Iridori Festival.
Though all bladesmiths trace their craft back to the same source, over time, each of us has arrived at a different blade-making philosophy, spawning the development of different branches of the same art. As an example, the Amenoma art strives to emulate the abiding patience and determination of water as it turns stone to sand. There is nothing mystical to our work. There is only practice, day in. As for the art of the Kaedehara clan, I believe it's called the Ishin art.
That's right. Ishin art strives for complete harmony between blade and mind from the moment that forging begins. For only a blade thus forged can capture and convey its maker's thoughts and feelings.
Indeed. Most samurai choose their blades, but an Ishin blade chooses its owner. You are, without a doubt, the most worthy wielder of an Ishin blade. It gladdens my heart to see that—
You overestimate me. My actions are guided by my own personal sentiments, not by any noble aspirations on behalf of my clan. But let's get back on topic. The purpose of our visit today is to gather some information on your missing. We hope to assist with the investigation. It may turn out that this case is connected to another we are pursuing.
Ah, yes. My nephew. I reported the case to the Tenryo Commission, but I haven't heard anything back so far. He didn't say a word before he left, which is very unlike him. I'm still completely at a loss on what to make of it, but I've done what I can so far. Worrying is futile. All I can do now is wait for the news from the Tenryo Commission.
We heard that there was a collector involved in the disappearance too. Know anything about that?
Yes. On the morning that Yuya went missing, he gave me a very cryptic look and said that he was going to give me a great gift. I believe he went to collect the item from Mr. Nagato after that. The next thing I heard was that a fire had broken out at the warehouse, and neither of them came back. Yes. Strange, isn't it? I wonder what could have caused it. Unfortunately, there was very little evidence left behind, so nobody knows what really happened.
Do you have any thoughts on what Yuya may have wanted to give you?
If I had to guess, it must have been some kind of rare weapon. Otherwise, there would have been no reason for him to get my hopes up. He's never been particularly interested in blade forging, but has always had a fondness for blade testing. He is extraordinarily talented in martial arts, particularly when it comes to the art of the sword.
Truth be told, we have some information that you may find to be objectionable. The person we are looking for, based on the evidence we have gathered so far, only Yuya seems to match the suspect's.
What? No. He is humble and kind. Even his training is done with the goal of
Is that so?
Yes. If there's one thing I can say for certain, it's that he— But, with that said, I also cannot know what course of action he might be capable of if coerced. Anyway, should you find him, please—
Don't worry. You have our word.
From the sound of that, Paimon doesn't think Yuya was the one who had—
Yes. It sounds as if something happened when the two men met each other. Let's pay a visit to the Nagato.
I'm very sorry, but we cannot afford to pay my husband has gone missing, and I'm still trying—
No, you misunderstand us. We are here to help with the investigation.
Ah, I see. I thought the debt collectors had come to visit again. I'm sorry you have to see me in this dreadful state. Has some new info...
I'm afraid we don't have any new information at the moment. We're still trying to find out as much as we can to inform. With this in mind, can we perhaps ask some questions?
For example, Paimon's struggling to understand why a collector would be strapped for more.
That's a long story. He'd always get so animated when he was showing them to me. I knew nothing about the items myself, but seeing how enthusiastic everything was fine when we first got married. But as time went by, things changed.
Uh-oh. What happened?
He lost his sense of restraint. He started buying more and more things, and even our expenses really spiraled out of control when he started getting interested in weapons. It was awful. There were days when he'd spend hours down at the warehouse. He wouldn't sell them, wouldn't even touch them. Just sat there I'm happy he has a hobby, and I'm willing to support him. But making ends meet has to come first. On the last day that I saw him, I gave him an ultimatum. I said, if he refused to sell his
Whoa!
And that led to an argument.
Actually, it didn't. Generally, he's a quiet man who likes to go with the flow. On most things, he leaves the decision-making to me. You must understand, I never would have dreamed of threatening him with divorce if the debts hadn't pushed our family to the brink. After I said those words, he froze and was silent for a long time. His voice was so meek and pitiful that I felt an urge to take everything back. But then what? If I didn't draw the line, what would happen to our family? Had I not indulged his bad habits, we wouldn't have found ourselves in such a predicament, and I also don't know if he had actually come to his senses. The next thing I heard was that our warehouse had caught fire, and both he and the buyer had gone missing.
I see. I understand. Ame no Mayuya came to purchase a weapon from Mr. Nagato. During the sale, a fire broke out at the warehouse.
At first, I assumed they must have gotten into an argument over the price. But my husband has never been one to negotiate. He never even haggles when he's out buying groceries, so it's hard to imagine him getting into a fierce argument.
Maybe he was feeling the pressure.
I don't know. He just disappeared after the warehouse burned down. Perhaps he's too afraid to come home, now that all his collectibles have been lost in the fire. Even though I'm still a little mad at him, as long as he's willing to turn over a new leaf, I know we can work things out.
Please don't get upset. There could be more to this situation than meets the eye. If collecting things is a habit that Mr. Nagato had his whole life, but the information we gathered from the other side suggests Ame no Mayuya is also a mild-mannered man who would not be likely to start an argument. This situation is getting a little confusing.
A little confusing? More like completely mystifying.
Let's try a change of scenery and see if we can piece together what we've learned. Rest assured, we'll notify you if we find anything.
Thank you so much. I just want him to come home.
Based on the information we've gathered so far, I can only surmise that the fire at the warehouse likely played a part in... Do you have any thought?
Well, Paimon was thinking that maybe someone accidentally knocked over an oil lamp? Nope, never mind. Paimon's brain needs to rest for a while. Over to you.
That is the most likely conclusion based on everything we know. What started as a disagreement over the price escalated and ultimately turned into a tragedy. However, in this case, only one of the parties would have started the fire. That would make the other party innocent, and they would have no reason to hide themselves from the public. If this is indeed what happened, and one fact that I keep coming back to is that Ame no Mayuya is polite and well-mannered, while Mr. Nagato, being heavily in debt, is also the only one of them with the potential motive to disappear after the fire. The more I ponder it, the more puzzling it becomes. Just what could have happened there? Right. Although the time frame seems to broadly match, no Amenoma Yuya lacks a key distinguishing feature of the attacker. Namely, that he is Prince—
Darn! We thought we could get two birds with one stone here.
Let's keep going. Since if we can solve the case, both Mr. Amenoma and Mrs. Naga—
Okay, but where should we go now?
Let's head out of the city and check out the warehouse. Wait. I hear something ominous.
Oh! This must be another one of those sounds that— oh, as sketchy as that whole thing seems, you did put it to good use when we were chasing down—
Now I'm picking up a strong—
But there's nothing here.
It's gone now, but I can still sense it felt very much like that ancient presence in Inazu. Indeed. But this unexpected spring of inauspicious— we should remain vigilant, and—
So it's an
the force is— the source of the Tatarigami energy has long since left this place. Judging from the concentration, I would have to conclude that the Tatarigami source resided here.
Mrs. Nagato said her husband used to hang around the warehouse by himself a lot.
It could well be that he was already under the influence of Tatarigami energy at that time. From what I've been told, Tatarigami does not turn all upon whom it preys, but most will develop a stubborn streak upon being exposed to the Tatarigami's unfulfilled will. Their interests. Mr. Nagato had an interest in collecting to begin with. The influence of Tatarigami could explain why he became an obsessive hoarder, amassing more and more possessions, even as he put himself in grave debt.
So what should we do now? Go down and take a look?
Step back. I'll open the door and take a look inside. If we don't open this door, we can move no closer to— You needn't worry. Both of us.
What's down there?
Everything's buried in debris. I can't— It looks like the fire caused a cave-in, reducing the entire warehouse to rubble.
That was too scary! Paimon was so sure that the warehouse boogeyman was about to jump out at us!
All we can do now is keep searching in the direction that the Tatarigami energy's source left two ordinary humans, entangled with the Tatarigami. I fear much misfortune has already befallen them. Yes, let's go. Quiet your mind and focus on what you sent. From this point, the trail appears to split into two. The main source of the Tatarigami energy continued on into the distance, but a small— quite possibly.
Whoa! Look at all those hilly churls! They're acting really strangely!
Something seems to be drawing their attention. Let's take a closer look.
Stabilize! Moment of birth! Come into being!
By the looks of it, a letter written on a piece of torn clothing. Well, let's take a look. According to this letter, a conflict arose because Amenoma Yuya wanted to seize a blade belonging to Mr. Nagato. Yuya started the fire that destroyed the warehouse and wounded Mr. Nagato in the fight. Mr. Nagato kept chase as long as he could, eventually stopping here.
So, where is he?
He was not only mortally wounded, but also under the heavy influence of Tatarigami. Add to that the fact that its aura seems to have attracted a horde of monsters, and I'm afraid he may no longer be with us. Whatever traces there may have been of his fate beyond after this point. Yes, right now we need to uncover some more important truths. If Amenoma Yuya is attacking other people indiscriminately, then the longer we take to find him, the more people risk meeting the same tragic end.
Right, so let's get moving.
I wouldn't be surprised if he, too, fell prey to the influence of the Tatari. For a practitioner of the martial arts, the easiest desire to inflame would be their pursuit of further power and skill. All the clues that at first seemed disparate and disconnected. I have a hypothesis that, if it's correct, not only explains the series of...
Wait, you figured it out? So these two cases are connected after all?
I believe so. But it's something of an outlandish idea. I will only be able to confirm my suspicions once we've met him in person. On with the search. We must stay vigilant. At any point now, we may find ourselves in danger. He seems to have stayed here for a long time.
Why here? Is there anything special about this?
I'm not sure. But on closer examination, I sense that the aura may have lingered here at several different points in time.
Show yourself! It's no use hiding anymore.
Kaedehara Kazuha. It's you, at last.
Aha! So it is the same guy from before! What's your problem, huh? What could you possibly have against Kazuha?
Indeed, there should be no enmity between us. But what if instead of facing Amenoma Yuya, we are in fact facing the blade in his hand?
Now that you mention it, it is giving up. Whoa! Sure!
Tatarigami energy often lodges itself within physical objects. The blade has resided in Mr. Nagato's warehouse for many years. Or rather, as a means to occupy
You're sharper than I thought. You've already deduced the truth of the matter. Many, many years ago, I was forged by a famed blade as a descendant of the Kaedehara clan. You should be able to guess our greatest regret.
I presume it has something to do with the Raiden Gokaden.
Indeed. At that point in time, he failed to live up to the Raiden Shogun. He was a bladesmith of great renown, a master of his craft. There was nothing that he could not accomplish. And sure enough, in the end, he achieved what he had set out to do. All of his life's work. He not only bestowed upon me the greatest of strength, but also endowed me with a consciousness of my own. In her conceit, the Raiden Shogun lost not only the single most perfect blade in the entire world.
So... swords? Can be...
The people of the time in which I was born never believed I had that kind of power. They saw me as a mere blade, a sharp and well-crafted one. After the death of my creator, I decided to leave Snezhnaya and began my long quest to return to the distant land of Inazuma. I seek but one thing. To face the full force of the Raiden Shogun's blade and prove my power. The might of Ishin art!
Ah, so Amenome Yuya was not your first victim. Tell me, what happens to those you've possessed when you...
My hosts? Who cares what happens to them? They are but tools that serve my mission. When they got tired, or injured, or unusable, I hopped to the next one in line. All I needed them for was to take me back to Inazuma.
You're awful.
After I returned to Inazuma, I decided to bide my time in Nagato's warehouse until, at long last, I'm approaching my journey's destination. By Amenoma Yuya's body, I have found you, and by your hand, I shall defeat the Raiden Shogun. Kaedehara Kazuha, you stood against the Raiden Shogun's Muso no Hitotachi. There can be no other to serve as my host for what is to come. Now, give your body over to me!
Hold the line.
I will have order.
Into the wind!
Join me and suffer that divine light!
Time for your arraignment. Incinerate.
Witness my great undertaking.
Yeah, gather!
What?
Do not stand in my way, or I will strike you down too!
Your bluff's fooling no one. You've lost.
Lost? I can never lose. It is this body that has reached its limit, nothing more. Even if you defeat me here, the one who falls will not be me, but this man. He is but a puppet that can be replaced. I can take a new vessel at will. The end result is the same. I will end this wretch's life before you can lift a finger. And even if I were to lose my physical form, it is but a small setback. By any means necessary, and any medium available, I shall return and fulfill my destiny!
Your fighting style. It is indeed the forms of Ishin art, but from your movements, I sense only hatred and arrogance, as well as a thinly veiled
Really? You can tell all that just from his moves?
As I've mentioned before, the forms of Ishin art convey the user's thoughts and feelings. Since the blade is currently possessing Amenome Yuya's body, its movements express the innermost thoughts of the blade. If you ask me, the mania is probably due to your desperate, single-minded ambition. You believe I am your only hope.
Are you trying to claim that I am helpless without you? On his deathbed, he passed to me all of Ishin art's secrets. The little that you know barely scratches the surface. In that regard, why would I ever need your help?
Because all of that is in the past. I've been wondering why you've not caused more trouble in all the years that you've been in Inazuma. If you are indeed a cursed blade that can possess its owner. Now that I've seen inside your mind, everything finally makes sense. You weren't biding your time. You were trapped. After all the time that's passed, you have grown weak. To the point that you are now unable to acquire a new host without
Oh, that's right. Paimon remembers now. Mr. Nagato had a habit of never touching his collectibles.
Only when Mr. Nagato witnessed his wife's distress and decided to sell his collectibles did you finally have an opportunity to reach out to Amenome Yuya and make...
And what of it?
Well, that brings me to my second point. There's a despair in you that is so strong, you were determined to fulfill your maker's ambition, whatever the cost. But this ambition is too grand. I think you realized your limitations long ago. The more you clenched your teeth and pressed forward, the greater your fear of losing everything. But the way I see it, what began as an ambition has long since become a delusion.
What would you know about any of this? I'm just one step away from a...
You returned to Inazuma to prove the unparalleled brilliance of Ishin art. But to make this arduous journey, you committed countless atrocities. And even if you were to sever that divine light, is this truly the outcome that your maker would have Sure, you inherited the secrets of Ishin art. But even as you made your journey to honor this legacy, how could you possibly unleash the full potential of Ishin art when you act in perfect discordance with the principle of harmony?
Silence, you blabbering fool! I must achieve my goal. This was his life's dream, and the very purpose for which I will concede that you are most perceptive. You see my predicament clearly.
And you should face reality.
Easy for you to say. Facing reality offers me nothing. I have no need of anything that would stand in my way. Not hesitation, not... It is pointless to argue further, descendant of the Kaedahara clan.
How stubbornly you stick to your I do not believe for a second that you can challenge the almighty Shogun in your current state.
What? Surely you're not planning to agree to his demand.
Very well. Then find yourself some enemies with whom you wish to cross blades. A taste of my power will more than Once we have dealt with them, we shall proceed to Tenshukaku.
And as for your end of the bargain, if you lose, you must release Amenoma Yuya from your
I accept.
Don't do this, Kazuha!
This is the only way to save Amenoma Yuya. The Cursed Blade's strength is currently very weak, and I sense he's hesitating. The power of the Tatarigami lies in intensifying existing obsessions. This is the reason Mr. Nagato...
But even so...
Even if things take a turn for the worse, I still have you both here with me. We have a chance here to save an innocent victim. I am willing to accept the risks entailed.
Your disdain for me betrays your woeful ignorance. Now, take me in your hand.
Kazuha?
I'm okay. I felt a little dizzy at first, but only for a moment. It's all right. So far, this was as I expected. I will. Thank you.
What should we do next?
We find some enemies. Although this blade has endured much turmoil, it probably hasn't experienced. If a blade built for Ishin art cannot enter a state of... If he wants to avoid reality, then we...
Wait a minute! Paimon remembers hearing about something from the Adventurers Guild. Since the Takasukasa clan abandoned that secret base, it's...
all right.
What about Amenoma Yuya?
The blade says he'll let Amenoma Yuya trail us silently.
Are we sure this is a good idea? It's a pretty Okay.
Leave everything on this journey to me. The wind knows me. One with nature.
It's my lucky day.
The wind knows me.
As one with wind and cloud.
Into the wind.
How are you feeling?
I'm all right. The blade is performing largely as I expected. Having gone so long, though he's making every effort to persevere, I do not think he can last much.
Something else on your mind?
How strange. Rather than trying to let's keep going.
Time to go.
It's my lucky day.
One with nature.
It's my lucky day.
Fallen leaves, adorn my night.
The wind knows me.
Whoa! Something's up with the blade!
I can sense that his strength is slowly fading away. The blade is becoming more and more difficult. He cannot hold out much longer. If he keeps persisting,
But what would that do to Amanome?
I will be careful with it. He also says he does not have any He's still trying to achieve his goal.
It's over!
One with nature. The wind knows me.
Clouds high, the birds call.
I'm ready!
One with nature.
I'm ready!
The wind knows me.
Time to go.
Cut down! Like this.
Are you okay? It looked like you were really stressed.
Yes. And it looks like he's reached his limit.
The sheen's grown a bit dimmer again.
Perhaps this time, we'll finally have a chance to see his true form.
True form? What are you talking? Is this the same blade as before? It looks like a piece of junk!
If you choose to continue in the state you're in, you wouldn't even be able to beat Samurai and Kairagi, much less the Almighty. Maybe you did truly wield power to rival the Shogun's light when first forged. But the long journey from Snezhnaya back to Inazuma has left you battered and broken. It barely needs stating anymore. Your ambition is a flight of fancy. I've finally figured out why it was that you agreed to my bet. You wanted to reach a state of harmony with me. For perhaps then you would still, but regrettably we are nothing alike. I will never understand your obstinacy and cruelty, nor can I empathize with the one who made you. The only one who truly understood you had already passed away by the time you were born.
Huh? What's that supposed to mean?
Here they are! Take them down!
Where do they keep coming from? Yup! We can help this to—
Don't worry. I'll use my own blade. It's just more of the same.
Let's get down
One
to
with
business.
It's over! This will end you!
The wind knows me.
As one with wind and cloud!
You fought way better with your own sword.
You are a true Kaedehara in flesh and in spirit. No one knew anything of my story throughout my travels, nor did I tell it to anyone. I thought that if I could achieve Ishin harmony with you, perhaps there would still...
But in this too, you have failed.
Indeed. No matter how hard I tried, I could not attain that perfect harmony that your... Too much time has passed. My physical state is poor, and without proper maintenance, I can only disguise my true appearance behind an outer sheen. Yours is the blade that took on the Muso no Hitotachi.
Actually, this is just a generic blade that I picked up during my travels in Liyue.
What?
Forging and maintenance are both important for a blade, but they are not. This blade has traveled the land with me for many years, and we have formed a close bond during that time. Skill, blade, determination, and desire. There is something else I must tell you. Though your maker may not have been aware, your Tatarigami is a malevolence from the ancient past. Though you tried to cooperate with me while I was wielding you, the part of you driven by Tatarigami was...
I sensed it, but I couldn't change it.
I resisted its temptations because I wanted to save Amenoma Yuya. I feel a great sense of regret for you. Since you embarked on a journey bound for a destination, the moment you embarked on this journey, you lost the only person who could... You have known this for a long time. It is the true source of your despair.
He gave me everything. How could I possibly deny him his... I said to him, do not worry. From here on, I shall forge your leg. How could I go back on my word?
Aww.
I believe our bet is now settled. I have nothing further to say.
Where are you going, Kazuha?
He now has neither the ability nor the motivation to cause further harm. When I touched the hilt for the first time, it's as if I was A bladesmith lay quietly on the bed, his frail face barely visible under the moonlight. A newly forged blade lay by his side, listening attentively to his
Wow. That was...
Indeed. While in exile in Snezhnaya, the bladesmith eventually learned the truth behind everything that had happened. He spent the rest of his life in the forge, not to vent his frustration and hatred. He felt intense regret at being tricked by the Fatui, so he instructed this sentient blade to find a way back to Inazuma, no matter how long or how hard the journey. All he wanted to show was that they once shone brilliantly as blade and smith.
But after that, the blacksmith's intentions were worked by the Tatarigami.
Right. I believe the bladesmith might never have known that the power he worked with was that of the Tatarigami. This blade has committed unforgivable atrocities, but only because it lost its original map.
Shame it's too late now.
Yes, it is too late. Time would not wait or stop because of his determination. While the world moved on, his ambition remained stubbornly stuck. He seems to have calmed down, though.
When I look back at the past, I can remember the day of my... I once told him that I would pay any price to fulfill his wishes. Such was the debt I owed to him for giving. But darkness and slaughter numbed the mind. Over time, I lost sight of the difference between gratitude and grudge. Not only did I fail to fulfill his ambition, I also defiled it.
You are finally seeing reality clearly.
Since we agreed to the terms of the bet, I will honor the agreement and release Amenoma Yuya. But I still cannot bring myself to forsake his ambition. It is the entire purpose for my existence. So, may I ask you to help me fulfill the ambitions of myself and my creator?
Hey! Now you're adding yours into the mix, too? Jeez, don't push your luck, mister.
It has to be done in this order. At least hear what I have to say. And if you don't agree, I will still release Ame no Mayuya as promised. My physical form, as well as the knowledge I possess, should still be of some value to you.
His attitude has grown a lot milder. What do you think, Kazuha? Should we give him a chance?
Let's hear it.
Thank you all. Alas, after that, he never, nor have I ever had the chance to prove my fights were devoid of any noble meaning. They were merely the next step in my never-ending journey. You are a fine warrior. I would like to request...
Oh? And who would be the opponent?
I will release Ame no Mayuya and restore his consciousness. Perhaps after that, you must have plenty of reasons to both hate me and desire...
Understood. Then let's start...
I see. He used my body. I utterly despise him and his actions. If a duel can help to set this state of affairs in order, I do not wish to be a mere victim in this story.
There's no need to worry. We'll vouch for your innocence to the Tenryu Commission.
Thanks for your help. Who knows how this would have ended without your intervention.
All right, then let's move on. More Ronin could appear at any moment. We can't stay here. In any case, for a final duel, I think we should aim for a greater sense.
This reminds Paimon a bit of the Crux Clash. Yep, we still can't let our guard down. Still, even if he's way past the point of redemption, are you ready?
Ready? Okay. All right then. Successor of Ishin art.
Successor of Amenoma art.
Honored to cross blades with you.
It is my honor also.
One with nature. The wind knows one with nature. Fallen leaves, adorn my night! The wind knows it. Into the wind. The wind knows it. As one with wind and cloud. One with nature. Into the wind. The wind knows me. Into the wind. Falling leaves, adorn my night. The wind knows me.
Thank you for the experience. Although he appears battered and broken, his sense of savage cruelty has completely faded away.
You also fought well. I'm sure he relished the experience. There are a few things that I shall leave him to tell you himself.
I must apologize to you for all that has transpired.
You need not seek my forgiveness. Nor do I have the right to forgive you on your victim. It is too late for all of...
I do not wish for forgiveness. I only hope that you will see my transgressions. I strayed far from the straight and narrow path, but the Ishin art still has a worthy successor. I beseech you, please understand this.
Yes. I too trust Mr.
Thank you, successor of Op.
This blade has also told me that he has another wish. Maybe we can go back there together.
What does he want to go there for?
I'm not sure, but I think that all this...
It's you!
I am sorry to have troubled you. It's all thanks to them that I was able to return.
A prized Ishin blade. Turned weapon that controls the human mind. Considering their forging philosophy, this was indeed within the realm of possibility. But I have some good news as well. Ryuji from the Bonton Sango Detective Agency.
Really? Is he okay?
Yes. Badly wounded, but he will live. And now that Yuya is back, it seems like the final ending to this story is a happy one after all.
I think I know what you want to do.
What's wrong, Kazuha? Is the blade whispering in your ear again?
Yes. He said he wants to take control of me for a brief moment.
What? No way! Hasn't it learned its lesson?
He tells me that he's thought of another way to fulfill his maker's wish. I have decided to let him do it.
But... he... Ugh.
Thank you. I will explain my reasons later. Okay. I am ready. Let us begin.
My power is almost spent. Without him, my eventual demise is inevitable. But if I abandon the future to give everything I have in this moment, my physical form can be forged anew.
Everything? You mean...
Yes. The cost is my entire consciousness. You were right. There's nothing that I can accomplish now. But there's still a chance for Ishin art. Once remade, I will be a valuable resource for your studies. Ishin lives on, and its finest hour is yet to come. Even if I am not the one to prove its might to the Shogun, as long as it is an Ishin blade, crafted by Kaedehara hands, it will still fulfill his final wish. Thank you, son of the Kaedehara clan. Over the years, my real name has been forgotten by all. I'm ashamed to utter it, yet it remains strong in my mind. Kagotsurube Ishin. This name is now yours to keep.
Rest in peace.
So, it had to be done. His consciousness will disappear forever after fulfilling the Blade's...
Kagotsurube Ishin. It seems like deep down he disapproved of his own actions. Only in the final moments, before his consciousness faded, was he...
Seems like he really wanted to fulfill...
The same fervent ambition that gave him the motivation to keep going forward. Speaking for myself, I'd rather see him recognize and atone for his mistakes. I understand. Perhaps this is a flaw in my personality. Hearing his wish to rival the divine light touched something inside of me. Your quest to face the gods and trace your sibling inspires me in the same way. After everything I've seen, perhaps these pursuits...
Oh, Kazuha?
I will continue to support you from this point on.
Wait! Shouldn't we also go update
Oh, you're right. We need to tell him about the findings of our and it's also time to give him a response to the offer he made.
You've returned. I hear that the issue has been resolved. The Tenryou Commission has already attended to the danger at the warehouse. The investigation into Amanoma Yuya should conclude soon.
Wow, you should...
Then we needn't recount all the details again. Now, as to your earlier offer, I wish to give you my answer.
What's this?
Kagotsurube Ishin. A weapon crafted using a long-lost blade forging. By means of a series of fortuitous events, I was able to recover and restore him. I also promised him that I will continue, and so it looks like I will likely continue with my journey across the nations.
I see.
The Kaidahara clan has always been a family of bladesmiths, so it is only proper for me to continue on this. Were I to accept your goodwill, I may find myself embroiled in conflicts between the shogunate and Sangon.
You misunderstand. That was most certainly not our intent.
I am aware, but I still desire to continue.
Very well, I can understand. Then let's pretend this offer was never raised. However, if you should ever change your mind or find yourself in need of the shogunate's assistance...
Great. Thank you for your generosity.
Where will you travel to next, Kazuha?
I'll probably take to the seas with Captain Beto again. As for my next destination, let's see where the wind takes me.